Alright, what's up you guys? I am here with the Survivor Series 2018 pay-per-view review. I'm going to be doing every Survivor Series pay-per-view leading up to 2019, which gives me over 2 months still, 2.5 months really. So I'm going to try to do 2 or 3 a week until then. And as a lot of you know, Survivor Series is my favorite pay-per-view. I don't really get that excited for WrestleMania anymore. You know, for me, Survivor Series is my favorite time of the year. And I think we've consistently had some good pay-per-views the past few years. So let's get into this. From Los Angeles, California at the Staples Center, we had Survivor Series 2018. And this was a Raw versus SmackDown show. Kind of has that bragging rights feel to it. But as always, I'm going to go through the show and then give my letter grade at the end. So my letter grade actually kind of changed a little bit. When I did my original review, I gave it an A-. So, you know, I feel like after it's all said and done, I gave it a different rating. It's not much of a difference, but it is kind of a little small difference. Okay, so on the pre-show, we had the SmackDown versus Raw tag team elimination match. And here's the problem with this. If you're doing this Raw and SmackDown thing, this match doesn't count. Because SmackDown won this match. But it didn't count on the scoreboard. Which doesn't make any fucking sense. That makes it seem like we shouldn't watch the pre-show. That is subliminally telling us the pre-show does not matter. So you have Team SmackDown go over, that should be 1-0 at that point. But no, they start the whole pay-per-view with a clean slate, which really doesn't make sense to me, and it was really frustrating at the time. And then we had your Raw and SmackDown Women's Elimination match with Team Raw coming on top. I thought this was decent. You know, it's acceptable. It's an okay pay-per-view opener, but honestly, I don't really expect much out of, you know, a 5-on-5 women's match. You know, I think this was better than the previous year, but it's not really saying much. You know, this was acceptable, though. And then we had Seth Rollins, who was your Intercontinental Champion, facing Nakamura, who was your United States Champion. And this match went 21 minutes and 50 seconds, so they got a good amount of time here. And that's one thing I really do have to give this pay-per-view. It had such good pacing and such good timing. And, you know, this was a good match. You know, I feel like Seth Rollins and Nakamura is kind of a dream match for a lot of people. And I remember last year, the lead up to this, I was really hoping we'd get this. And I'm really glad we did. And it's a great exhibition match. You know, sometimes matches work when there's not much story going into it. That's why it's an exhibition match. You know, I prefer storytelling and a build-up, but sometimes when you just go in there and have at it, it can turn out to be a pretty good match. And, you know, it can be slow at times. It's not quite as good as I thought it would be, but I'd still say it's like a solid 3.5-star match. So, you know, good on their part for having a good mid-card match. And then we had the Authors of Pain versus The Bar, the SmackDown and Raw tag team titles going head-to-head. This was a disappointment. It really turned out to be nothing, to be honest. And then you had this is kind of probably well known for the Enzo Amore run-in he had. He didn't like jump the barricade or anything, but he was bringing attention to himself. And now he's permanently banned from all WWE events. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, this was just piss poor. It only went 9 minutes, and it really brings the show down for me a lot. And then we had Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight title. This went 12 minutes and 20 seconds. You know, it's a good Cruiserweight match. I think Super Showdown, when Buddy Murphy won the title, that was just a fantastic match. I loved it. That was the only watchable match on the show. So, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, this one didn't really live up to that, but Buddy Murphy, I thought he was a good Cruiserweight champion. I really did. And I'm a fan of his. So, you know, it's still a really good Cruiserweight match. And then we have your 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. And this is my favorite match type. For anyone who remembers I did top 5 favorite match types, this is number 1 for me. You know, Survivor Series is my Christmas, and this is the presents under the tree, the elimination matches. So we had Team Raw, which was Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley, with Baron Corbin and Lio Rush at the side. And they took on The Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. So Samoa Joe, right off the bat, got eliminated by a Claymore. You know, he did the clutch of like twice, and then it got reversed, and then he got eliminated only 35 seconds in. So that's disappointing. You know, your eliminations in order here were Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Dolph Ziggler, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, The Miz, Shane McMahon, and Braun Strowman. Or not Braun Strowman, sorry. Shane McMahon was the final elimination. The survivors were Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. So, you know, this went an even 24 minutes. I think this is a vast improvement over 2017's elimination match. You know, this isn't anywhere near 2016's, though. You know, this is good. It's acceptable. Some people might even call it a great match. You know, I think it's really good. And, you know, like I said, Samoa Joe getting eliminated that quick, I understand it's supposed to make you feel like anything could happen. You know, you got to show that the Raw team's formidable. But at the same time, I don't know. When I watched this live, I was really excited to see Samoa Joe in this match. And then he's just gone like that in 35 seconds. And Team Raw goes out on top. And you might be seeing a pattern here. Team Raw. We'll get to that. So then we had Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. And this match went 14 minutes and 40 seconds. There was a lot going into this match. Obviously, this was supposed to be Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. And this really set the course for the next few months leading up to WrestleMania. You know, Nia Jax obviously injured Becky Lynch, so she wasn't able to participate. And I actually think that ended up being better. This match was really good. And I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan at all. But this match, you know, I really enjoyed it. And it may have ended by disqualification, but it made sense. It makes sense to end this by DQ. And, you know, Ronda Rousey obviously was getting a lot of heat around this time. Fans were really turning against her that had previously cheered her. And it really felt real, this match. It was very stiff. It was very, you know, it wasn't like a hardcore match or anything. But this, you know, they went at it. So I, you know, really enjoyed this one. And it meant a lot in storyline for the next few months leading up to WrestleMania. And then finally, a dream match of mine. Brock Lesnar, who is your Universal Champion, versus Daniel Bryan, your WWE Champion. This was right after the heel turn from Daniel Bryan when he beat AJ Styles for the title on SmackDown. So going into this, Daniel Bryan was supposed to be heel. Kind of felt like a one night of storytelling in a lot of ways because he really didn't play the heel in this match. He was really advertised as the underdog here, which usually a heel doesn't go under. And this match was absolutely phenomenal. This is a very divisive match. A lot of people hated it, but I think this is wrestling storytelling at its best. This is how you tell a story in the ring. This match went 18 minutes and 50 seconds, which I'm glad it got a lot of time. It's good to see Brock Lesnar trying, because I've always said this. A lot of people shit on Brock Lesnar. When he tries, he can seriously put on a phenomenal match. And speaking of phenomenal, his match with AJ Styles the year before, you know, I think was better in-ring, whereas this one was better storytelling. Like, this had so much going for it, and I really love this match, and a great way to end the show, and a great main event. And Brock Lesnar, of course, won, but I really didn't expect Daniel Bryan to win, to be honest. But this is a match I've been waiting to see for a long time, and I never thought would happen due to Daniel Bryan really being protected because of his injuries and having to retire early and everything. So here's my problem with this pay-per-view. There's no consequences. You have Raw literally wiping their ass with SmackDown on this pay-per-view. A complete slaughter. And the one win that SmackDown did get didn't count, which made no fucking sense. But hey, whatever. There's no consequences here. Where, I felt like if you have Raw really, dominate here, make that a storyline following this. There was no reward. There was barely any mention of it on TV or anything. Bragging rights was garbage, but at least they got a trophy. Goddamn. It just felt like there was no consequences after this pay-per-view. And I think that brings the show down a little bit, knowing what we know now. At the time, we all thought this would play into storyline. You would have SmackDown morale go down, or have a meeting because they all fucking lost. So, in such a slaughterous way. But nothing, there was no bragging rights either. It was barely mentioned or talked about. And I feel like when you have a Big Four pay-per-view with a Raw versus SmackDown theme, have something on the line. Have there be consequences. Have there be an aftermath storyline. It just didn't make much sense to me. And, it is what it is now. It's still a phenomenal pay-per-view. But when it comes to a letter grade, I'm going to give this a B+. I really enjoyed this Survivor Series. It was one of the better pay-per-views of 2018. And probably my favorite pay-per-view of 2018, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it was my favorite. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. For now, this has been the DVD Freak. Peace out.